I'm from another planet. Can you hear me? Answer me.
32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence. And remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub! It is, it's Spaceboy. Howdy, how is everyone tonight? Woo-hoo! I am Spaceboy, and to my immediate left is the lovely Surlana. Say hello, Surlana.
Hello, Surlana.
All right, with such gusto. It is Spaceboy Universe, and this is episode 018. And tonight's topic is Thomas Edison, live from Channel 23. Just kidding, that's Edison Carter. So we're going to be talking with Gordon Rupe coming up here in a little bit, and it's going to be a good night. We're going to talk a little Edison. We felt that Edison needed a
rebuttal.
A rebuttal in the, I guess, since our, Nikola Tesla episode. It's a mouthful. But yeah, we figured to give him a little, his due where he's due, and so that we could just settle this all together. So yeah, so you're listening to SpaceboyUniverse.com. And you're probably tuned into one of the many wonderful places that you can tune into. One of our top ones is Spreaker. Tune in, TalkStream Live, just to name a few. Of course, we always want to encourage everybody to check out our on-demand section. You can check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, and, of course, on Spreaker, too. But it all comes back to SpaceboyUniverse.com. So, with that said, also, if you would like to follow us on the Twitter universe, it is at the SB Universe. And, of course, the chat, if you want to go to SpaceboyUniverse.com, just click on the play button. That'll get you to the play action. And then there's a chat bubble. You click on that chat bubble. It'll take you to the chatting session, what is going on downtown in the sandpit of life, as we call our chat section on Spreaker. So, with that said, how are we doing, Surlana?
Cold.
Oh, you're cold?
I'm cold.
I think it's nicely, cool in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's get ready. You ready for some chit-chat?
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome. So, the other day I was reading or watching Facebook, and I follow Adam Savage, formerly of Mythbusters, and I'm going to that thought is all pretty tad. But anyway, he's he loves doing cosplay, and his newest thing that he's working on right now is the Martian spacesuit that Matt Damon wore. Did I say that right again?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Don't, please don't do that. If I lose it.
I'm only quoting that movie. But anyway, but it's funny to watch him because he's so enthusiastic.
Oh my gosh, he can out-nerd us easily. Oh my goodness, that man is
nerd to the 10th degree.
Massive nerd.
Do you remember some of the other space suits that he's done for
He did
Comic-Con?
the Apollo 13 astronaut. He's done...
he did the Alien.
The Alien space suit.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's done...
I thought it was cool when he did Admiral Akbar.
Yes, that was very
kind
cool.
of a combination thing. He's done many other things, and
saw him build the original captain's chair from Star Trek: The Original Series.
Yeah, even though MythBusters is gone, he's on another show called Tested. Thank you.
It's a web
thing.
YouTube based.
Yes, and
they have a website.
So if you get a chance, and if you check it out, check Adam out.
I enjoy it a little bit better than MythBusters.
Well, it is a little bit different than MythBusters, and I think you get more Adam than anything. Even though Jamie's supposed to be a part of it, I haven't really seen him on it.
No, Jamie.
Because when the show opens up, it has the little 8-bit characters of him. But it's fun to watch him, to see how enthusiastic he is as far as whatever project he gets in, and he just loves it. Speaking of cosplay, did you happen to see the Ruby Rod cosplay cat?
Yes, that was insane. Poor cat. I don't know how he put up with that.
I mean, I don't know many cats that will put stuff on him. I mean,
some will. Our cat won't. But
yeah,
our cat is so suspicious.
And our dog is
an idiot.
Well, to say the least. But he doesn't like anything on his head. But I mean, he seems to be okay when
thoughts or
I mean, I've dressed him up in a karate outfit, the Count Dracula outfit. I think I even dressed him out as a tiger one time. Bumblebee. So he was a good sport about all that.
He had no idea what was going on.
So speaking of cosplay and getting back into like superheroes and all that, you recently did a blog for spaceboyuniverse.com, something that we're trying out new.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Oh, well, just speculating on the whole hashtag Where's Rey controversy about her not being included in the product line for Star Wars The Force Awakens. And I just found out like 30 minutes ago that an industry insider said this was done deliberately because they felt that little boys don't want to buy female action figures. And I'm like, this is 2016 now, right? These old-fashioned notions about genders not buying the other gender's representations don't fly anymore.
Well, what I think is really interesting when we go to visit our comic book place of choice, there's a lot. Would you say there's a lot of action figures and models of the women in various comics? And
well, yeah, definitely things like Catwoman. I think I've seen Black Widow, and of course, large-breasted anime women.
Well, I mean that's going without saying, but yeah, I do remember the
Batgirl, Supergirl,
the
Wonder
Woman. Black Widow one was really nice, but it was like an arm and a leg, and
oh yeah, I wouldn't know.
But there was one, the Wonder Woman. I guess it was like the 1930s version of the Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that style. It's really cool. I like that style too. Yeah. So, I was reading on one of the sites I like to go to called Week in Weird. Greg Newkirk is a guy over there that has written an article about the return of the Kentucky Goblins. Yes, the Kentucky Goblins. And I'm kind of distracted because Surlana is trying to write me a private message without telling y'all, and she's giggling. But I'm going to read more about this, but I'd like to get him on, and I'm trying to enable the Space Cadets to go ahead and help me out here. And would you do me a favor, Space Cadets? I want you to chat at NUEKERK and let him know that let Greg know that we want to know more here at the universe about the Kentucky Goblins. You remember this past, I guess it was October when we had our Halloween episode, Surlana?
Yes.
I did a thing with the Kentucky Goblin thing.
That's your favorite alien story.
It goes back to when I was a kid, and I really like the story in particular because it freaked me out as a kid. And so it was something that I enjoyed. And when I read this part of this article, and like I said, I haven't gotten knee deep into it yet, but I plan on reading more about it. But I'd love to get Greg on and talk to him a little bit about this story and see what he has to say. And so Space Cadets, you have a mission. Get out there at NUEKERK and let Greg know that we want to talk to him here at Spaceboy Universe. NUEKERK. That's Greg Newkirk. So, and then, going from that, Kanye wants to do a cover of a David Bowie song.
No, please. Can we petition that to not happen?
I think that a petition needs to be started, if one hasn't been started already, to prevent him from ruining any more music. So yes, I cannot. No.
Can we find him his own planet to do all that on?
Can we get him into school so he can write his own music? I mean, ooh, snap!
Get some aloe vera for that burn.
All right, so now I'm going to go on a rant, if I haven't already, and that is T2 is dead. Now, I know
what does that mean?
Your eyebrows are getting close together. Okay, so you know how they recently released this kind of, I don't want to call it a reboot or whatever you want to call it, of Terminator recently, Terminator Genesis. Well, they've decided to pull it off the schedule, and there's not going to be a T2, despite the money making it worldwide, making bukus of money, because of the domestic performance here in the United States. It barely even broke even. And this is what really ticks me off about movies like this. And I think it goes almost in the same line as Tron Legacy. Did here in the United States, overall did a lot of good money all over the world, but yet they don't want to make a sequel to it. And I think that's a bunch of baloney. And I think it's things like this that these movie companies do that spur off or spawn off homemade films that we've been talking about last week with Manu Intiraymi.
Name drop.
Sorry, I had to do that. Guilty.
It was such a good experience. We can't stop talking about it.
But yeah, so I hear they're going to probably just scrap everything and start from the beginning. But at this point, what's the deal? I get tired of Hollywood teasing us like that. So, speaking of Hollywood, I know you don't care about this, but there are people out there. Tomorrow is the premiere of X-Files. It's back for 6 episodes. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. I know there's people out there. If you're excited out there in the chat session, let me know, because I'm a big X-Files fan, so I can't wait to see the old game back together again. Also, what I've heard is that out of this, Carter has written a possible script for another movie for X-Files. So let's hope that happens. I know you're interested in this. Venture Brothers.
Yes.
That's coming up pretty soon. What'd you think of that trailer?
Insanity. But that's typical for Venture Brothers. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't expect anything less from them.
Yeah, so it looks pretty good. They're in New York, and Dr. Venture is hating it, but
yeah, well,
other than that, I mean, what can he do? He's got all that money now.
It's like he's inherited his brother's enemies or something,
Mm-hmm. So lastly, before we go to break, I just want to point out there's been a new photo that proves the alien is a fake. There was that alien that looks like it was supposedly the Roswell alien, and it was on some chromachrome slide thingy, and it was hard to see, and then somebody say, hey, we can make this out, and it says this. It turns out that it was a mummy in a museum kind of thing, and so it's pissed a lot of people off, but, that's what you go when you jump to conclusions, is that you can't initially judge the book by its cover. You have to, go out there. It's always like my favorite author, Jim Mars, always says, don't believe me. You go out there and find the truth for yourself. I think this is one of those situations where it is exactly like that. A lot of people jump to conclusions. It made a lot of people look bad, but the truth is out there. So there you go. So are we ready to kick this in overdrive?
Sure.
I know Gordon's waiting on the phone, but he's going to have to wait for our mega break. So stay there, Gordon. And when we come back, we will have Gordon Rupe, and we'll start talking about
another planet.
Thomas Edison. For a second there, I was going to say Edison Carter live from 23.
From another planet.
Max Headroom reference. But we'll be back.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, the #1 broadcast for robots.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt. It's Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com. Hey, Space Cadets! Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SBU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live shows. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
Do you have a great product or an idea? Then Spaceboy Universe is looking for you. We invite you to contact us at contact@spaceboyuniverse.com. Be a part of the universe. Be a part of Spaceboy Universe.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Welcome back. Our guest tonight was born and raised in Oakland, California. Gordon Rupe is a man that has traveled much of the United States. He has a degree in ancient history. He is obsessed with Rome and Egypt. He's also been married for over 5 years with a son named Caleb. Now, his latest publication, Conspiracy Evolution Deluxe Edition, is available on Amazon right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest tonight, Gordon Rupe.
All right. How's my peeps? Joe? Wow, you sound so gangster.
All right. Did you get your applause? Or
I didn't get any applause.
Oh,
what's up with that?
You're going to have to listen to the replay, sir, because I put special effects applause in there just for you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. You know, since we last spoke, a lot's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bowie passed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is just, you know, I heard you talking about the whole Kanye thing,
mm-hmm.
and dear holy God on a stick, please no. There's, and you know, I've got my Spaceboy shirt.
Right.
And I gave,
rub it in for
picture,
everyone.
I posted. What's that?
Rub that in for everyone.
Well, you know, it was a matter of, it doesn't matter, because I posted a picture of me in my Spaceboy shirt, and everybody was like, oh, whatever. Caleb in the Spaceboy shirt got like 8 million likes and shares.
Well, good.
Because, you know, of course, he's like way cuter than I am.
Yeah, it's a cuteness factor. You look like a villain.
I look like a what?
A villain.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said pickle. I'm like, what?
Pickle.
Wait, didn't I not say that he looked like a Bond villain or something like? He's got his sunglasses
That's what
on.
I said. Bond villain. We say anything about gherkins.
Yeah. Who's that? It's the space gherkin. And that can go back to what Leanne was saying. Instead of release the Kraken, it could be release the gherkin. You see that?
I don't even want to touch that one. Not with a 10-foot pole or anything.
That's what she said. Come on. This is comedy gold, people. a few, you were talking about the X-Files thing, and did you know that Gillian Anderson was offered less than half of what David Duchovny was offered?
What, for the comeback thing? Or during the show?
For the X-Files comeback thing, that's what they were talking about on, I think it was Screen Rant.
No, I hadn't heard about that. And that really surprises me.
And another, the Terminator thing you're talking about, they were talking on, again, Screen Rant, about they don't want to mess with time travel pictures anymore because they're not too reliable at the box office. What does that even mean? They're not reliable at the box office. I mean,
And not to offend our writers out there, because there's some good writers out there, Dennis Koch, that can write a good story, but there are some, it's always the same thing. Like, here's a typical example. Something is produced in England. It could be a great show. And they bring it here to America, and writers redo everything, and it becomes a total flop. Like they tried to do the IT Crowd. Wonderful show. They brought it over here. They did a pilot.
Same with Red Dwarf.
Same with Red Dwarf. It just, they rewrote it, and it just flopped completely. Kind of like when you have these writers that they take their stories to Hollywood, and it's a great, awesome, story and everything, and then all of a sudden, well, can we make the alien more like a pickle? I mean, so I will warn you.
I will watch a show about an alien pickle. I will watch
that. Is her reply when I go off onto a tangent. Yeah, the pickle has got a big laser gun, and he's going around fighting crime in a third dimension that's bigger and smaller in the alternate universe.
Dude, don't give away your ideas for free.
Wait, now, before we go any further, let me ask, is there any way you could adjust the audio that's coming to me? Because it's kind of, I'm getting a lot of treble.
Okay.
Treble.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of, because you're sounding like you're blasting on a speaker. You know what I mean?
Well, let me.
Come on, it's all about the bass. Pump it up.
See, and I knew you were going to do that, Surlana. I knew it. I knew the minute I said treble, you're going to be like, okay. And speaking of Hollywood, the latest controversy, about people, saying there's not enough African Americans, nominated for Oscars and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and I came to the conclusion that they've got it completely backwards. There's not enough African Americans named Oscar.
You're in for the one-liners tonight, aren't you?
Man, I've been writing all day. Because I've been sick with a cold for the past 2 weeks, so I'm like on that NyQuil.
You sound peppy.
That NyQuil high. Oh yeah, I'm much better now, but I'm still drinking the NyQuil.
Oh.
Because
just because you like it.
Makes me see pretty. Yeah, it's pretty colors. It's I mean, I can smell colors and feel my hair. It's amazing.
Well, we're excited to get you on tonight, and obviously we had thought about getting you on from a previous show, but you got bumped. But here we are. We
got bumped for Star Trek.
You did get bumped for Star Trek.
And you know what? And I was going to call in that night just because I can't recall. It was Canoe or whatever.
Manu Interraimi.
He sounded drunker than Cooter Brown, man.
Oh, it was the audio.
It was the audio. We were having some audio difficulties.
Because you guys called him and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And I was expecting to hear the bubbles from the bong in the background. Hey guys, it was just like, good Lord, man, take a nap before you call in.
I would expect that more from someone from Colorado.
Yeah, well, with my epilepsy, I can't do it, so I get kind of ripped off there.
Sure,
but
Sure.
Well, we had a great time with that, and we were geeking out. So,
well, Gordon, and to quote my wife, I hate to inflate your ego, but you are our go-to guy for some of the subject matter that we do go to, and
I thank you.
And we're looking.
We also should just make a lot more friends.
I know that we've got a show coming up I guess it's going to be in March as I'm looking at it. JFK, And
sorry.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that show with you.
I just dropped something. Sorry.
And,
as am I. I'm, Be Still My Beating Heart. That's one of my favorites.
But
I mean, you talk about JFK, and I go on an 8-hour rant about the magic bullet theory.
That's March 12th, Saturday, March 12th.
I wonder if somebody wrote like a book out there where I could find that, or something related to that.
I don't think anyone's ever done that.
No,
it's so funny you should mention that, because I just happen to have a book.
Really? Go
yes.
Get out of here.
Yes,
Shut up.
I do.
Really?
It's called Conspiracy Evolution. And I came out with the deluxe edition a little while back, and I've been getting a lot of emails from people who want more of it. And so I'm probably going to be doing sub-books, Conspiracy Evolution, and then talking about the conspiracies therein. And there's no way I can compete with Jim Mars. Let's just acknowledge that right now, because he is the master when it comes to JFK.
Yes.
What's that?
I said, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Yeah, I know. No, indeed. Oh, my God. Just, But I will be, it's going to be like the JFK assassination for dummies, and that's what I try to aim to make it very simple, short, sweet, to the point, so that way there's not a lot of, what did he mean? I don't know what he meant, But you know what? Before I forget, I did want to tell Surlana there is hope for her.
Oh,
what?
Be careful, Dennis. I mean, be careful, Gordon.
Yeah, Dennis. Yeah, I'm Dennis, and I'm not
hey,
Dennis.
Don't worry.
No.
The night is early, because if I don't call you Bev or call you
Fran,
the problem is that I'm trying to, I'm looking at 4 different screens, and I'm like, okay, they're saying this, Gordon's saying that, I got this going over here. There's just too much on my plate, technologically wise. So be careful, Gordon, when you say to Surlana.
You were the first candidate to be like a Borg. If I ever hear, I'm going to be like, I know this guy named Spaceboy who, resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
She is all gung ho about a Black Widow solo movie, and they're talking about it seriously now.
In fact, the directors from the Civil War movie are really pressing
the
hard
Russo
for this. brothers.
Yeah,
yes.
The Russo brothers.
Yeah, I'm all behind it. I know that she'd go ahead and see it, and I wouldn't have to worry about paying for it. But yeah, I know she's lost. But Black Widow, remember movie coming?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Such enthusiasm.
Yeah, because last week she went on a tear about it, and I was doing some reading, and I'm like, hey, I've got to pass this on, So there, I have passed it on, and I'm. In case you can't tell, I'm just a little bit random for those who have never heard me talk before. I go from talking from JFK to SpongeBob Underpants.
He's a random pickle, isn't he?
Tonight is a good night for going for random. Tonight is the night for randomness. Hey, we're going to take a break a little bit early, Gordon, but when we come back, let's start into the Thomas Edison thing and go from there. So hold tight. Here we go for a break. People, hang tight. And sorry for the confusion, Dennis and Gordon, mixing them up. I'm dyslexic with my names, but we'll be right back after this message.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, the #1 broadcast on Omicron Persei 8.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 7137015-214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
All right. We're back with Gordon Rupe. And that's not Rupee, which was accidentally put into the hashtag on Spreaker for some strange reason. But he's the man with the plan, and we're talking Thomas Edison tonight. You know, like I said, we did a show on Nikola Tesla, and in praising how, you know, the man was a wizard beyond his own time, to say the least. And we pretty much badmouthed Thomas Edison. And tonight, I guess we're going to validate one way or another Thomas Edison, the man himself. He was actually born in Ohio in 1847 on February 11th. His birthday's next month. Of course, now just keep in mind he's dead, so don't go sending him any birthday cards or anything. So, once again, you never know what's going to happen in the studio. Surlana is red, and I don't even know why, but I hope she doesn't pass out.
It probably has to do with that tweet I sent her about a pickle.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to have to deal with you, sir, later. So we know that he was born, and I just wanted to cover the early part of his life here. He went to school, and they thought he was mentally slow, and supposedly he was taken out of school by his mom. He later took homeschooling with his mom, and so that's where he begins off.
Well, you know, with Edison, if you look at the comparison, you know, speaking of Tesla, him and Tesla were both considered slow in school, and they were both considered to be, you know, not very quick when it came to math, English, etc. They excelled at all the same subjects and failed at all the same subjects, which I found to be interesting. You look at,
and I was going to say, you bring up an interesting subject there, because I've always thought that maybe these people, because, you know, Einstein was the same, put in that same boat, where I believe that maybe during that time there was so much change and so much new information to learn that the people that were teaching, maybe they just didn't know how to properly give them the education that they need, and that's why they were kind of tossed to the side as slow or mentally challenged.
Well, you know, you look at how we treat it nowadays, it's more or less, you know, like, and I'm not being sarcastic, it's more or less like a Rain Man kind of thing, where you don't know the simplicities of one thing, but you know the detailed intricacies of another. And so with them, you know, I mean, Edison, you know, throughout his life claimed that, you know, he was horrible at math and he didn't know anything about math. But when they uncovered a bunch of his notes and papers, it was nothing but extreme mathematical equations that not a lot of people knew. And so, you know, the same thing with Tesla. Tesla had these out-of-the-world, you know, I mean, Tesla had an equation to counter the theory of relativity.
Well, it's noteworthy to note that Thomas Edison did not have a college degree. He never finished school. In fact, he did a lot of his, you know, home. He was very much into the books, and he was very much into chemistry. In fact, he had his own chemistry lab underneath in his mom's basement until she had to move out of the house because it smelled. But I digress. Go ahead and continue, Gordon.
Well, that and he got fired from one of his jobs because he worked the night shift in I think it was Louisville, Kentucky, when he worked for Western Union, and he preferred the night shift for the mere fact that it gave him time to read and time to experiment. And the whole reason he got fired was because one of his experiments went awry, and acid went through the floor and then went and melted his boss's desk. So when it comes to chemistry, he was very astute at it. One of the things I find interesting is almost all of his patents have to do with household items.
Now, it's interesting you bring that up with patents. You know, he really didn't have his first patent that he created until 1896, which was the vote recording machine. Now, he did have a tendency to believe, I'm trying to think of the one patent where, let's see, I think it was in, I guess, dealing with the incandescent light bulb, where Carl Joseph Swan was working on a light bulb, and he went into a partnership with him and ended up buying him out of his patent and gave him a sum of money and went ahead and claimed that as his own, which I think is kind of a miscarriage on history.
He liked buying patents.
He did like buying patents.
Well, you gotta see when I was thinking how to characterize Thomas Edison, the only true way I could think to do it was from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And it's Veruca Salt having all of these throngs of people opening Wonka bars, finding the golden ticket, and then saying, "I found it. I found the ticket." Because that's what he did. He would have all these people invent things for him, then he would patent it for himself. He had that problem when it came to the incandescent light bulb. He had that problem on several patents where people sued him and said, "No, I created that." But because of his public and political influences, they were just kind of shoved under the carpet, and that was that.
That's very true. Because
he had a research and development team, hundreds of
employees.
employees.
Are you referring to the Edison Trust?
I don't know if that came later with the cinema, but the thing that we watched on YouTube was like, "Oh, look what I just invented," meaning one of his employees.
Yeah. Well, it's with the you mentioned the whole thing with the cinema when he came out with the movies. And he came out with the ability to put sound to those movies. He loved it. But when another company came about and made a more plausible sound device, he said, "You know what? I don't like the sound with the movies anymore because it's making the actors not want to act, so they don't act anymore." And it's like, well, you liked it fine when you held the patent.
I have a ton of info on that if anybody wants to know more.
I like Surlana has an interesting story and revolves around that motion picture situation. Can you elaborate on that?
There's with Edison, you're like, okay, what did he actually invent? What is he actually responsible for? So, with regards to motion pictures, I think, as you know, with light bulb, there's people that came before him, but want to mention real quickly this cool individual, well, not cool, but interesting guy called Edward Muybridge. He's a guy that migrated to America at the age of 20 in 1855. So he comes over here, he is traveling across the country, and he gets in a serious stagecoach accident. And this sort of had like a frontal lobe injury. It changed his personality. He said he had double vision. He was confused for a while. And he had emotional issues after this, and he was aware of it. But so he was recovering from his injury, and he got into photography. So in the late 1800s, he got asked to help settle a bet by the former governor of California, Leland Stanford. So Stanford asked Muybridge, "Okay, the bet is we can't tell if a horse's hooves all leave the ground at the same time when the horse is in full gallop." At the time, you can't see this with the human eyes. It's too quick because the horse is going too fast. So he started shooting a series of photographs in 1872 of a galloping horse. But his results with his photographs were a bit inconclusive, so he had to take a little time off to go murder his wife's lover, and because she was cheating on him, and he went to trial, and the jury said, that's cool, that's justifiable, going about your business. So he gets off on the murder charge and goes back to perfect his photography technique. So in 1897, he took some more photographs that proved that indeed all four horses' hooves leave the ground at the same time in full gallop. So he went on to do his research at a university, and in 1883, he produces thousands of photographs of humans and animals in motion, and he develops a projection device called a zoopraxiscope. And he was the first one that showed a series of photographs that you turn this device around and it looks like the horse is galloping or the man is walking. So I think this is what Edison saw and then led to the invention of the kinetoscope or the Nickelodeon, which is how he got into the cinema business. In 1888, he was working on, Edison said, an instrument which does for the eye what the phonograph does for the ear. So now he produces The Kiss, Fatima's Dance, The Great Train Robbery. So there's a debate on his participation in this process, you know. So, you know, he basically has these little peep shows.
There's tons of instances where his participation is very questionable.
Yes, because he has a team. But what was interesting to me is, so when he goes into the cinema age here, movies were just a diversion. He was really more interested in extracting iron ore and from depleted mines. He's got an obsession with this, and he bought a concrete factory that started to tank. And so he thought, well, hey, I'll make some lightweight concrete furniture. And he thought that was going to be the future. Well, he's trying to capitalize on this failed concrete business he bought. And of course, that failed. It didn't work. But what intrigued me, and I don't know if you learned about this, Gordon, was so when it came to the cinema work, he left the bulk of that experimental stuff in the hands of his chief assistant, William Kennedy Laurie Dixon. So if you want to say Edison was Steve Jobs, then William Dickinson was his Wozniak, because Dixon was actually interested in it. He had a gift for the theater, and he was probably the one that should get a lot of the credit. He designed Edison's film studio in West Orange, New Jersey, and he had a studio shack that revolved to catch the sunlight through a skylight. So he was the world's first film director.
Well, it's not just that. He was responsible for, you know, because he found that he was getting quote unquote credit for these movies, but he wasn't getting any money for it. And so he had to go ahead and invoke the first patent on film.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he did it was he took the negatives and he would copyright the negatives. Or patent, or however you'd like to
in
phrase
fact,
it.
it licensed, I think, was a term used when we were watching it, where his competitors, he was trying to get them off. Where you're showing your films on my equipment, and it's licensed, and you don't have a license for it.
They were using his hardware, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can't do that stuff here with my hardware, and so he sued Limley, and he took him to court 200 and something times. Till Limley finally got the idea
like
to
240 some odd times.
Yeah. So Limley said, screw this. Why are we staying around in New Jersey of all places? So they decided they would take their stuff and move to California. And this became it was Limley, Fox, and what's the guy with the Z word, the Z name? I can't think of his name.
Oh, yeah, I could see it in
my
head.
But anyway, they became, they moved to California, and this became the beginning of Universal, Paramount, and Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was a matter of they were in New Jersey, and they said, hey, you know what? California is the place we ought to be.
Well, they finally did get the Edison Trust broken up. Our government ruled, hey, this is a monopoly. You can't own all the rights to all film stuff everywhere. So,
just a side note, see, Spaceboy got what I was saying. He got the joke.
What, did you hear
and
my
like
chuckle?
Surlana didn't even crack.
I know the Beverly Hillbillies,
Look,
but like my husband, if I don't encourage you, maybe you'll stop it.
Swoosh. She got you.
See, you see, my wife thinks like that, but then again, that's why she's, you know, she's upstairs with my son trying to keep him quiet, you know, because he wants to be on the radio too.
One day he'll replace Daddy.
Yeah, I know, right?
But what was interesting about when Edison did have the first, you know, they had the kinetoscope, you know, he had like cats boxing and people doing Smith stuff, like, you know, blacksmith.
And I thought that was like YouTube before even thought.
But what they found out was, like today, what really sold was things that had more sex and violence in it than the and the top sellers were R-rated. The Serpentine Dance, you know, Fatima's Dance. So nothing's really changed.
Yeah, no, I it's so funny because, you know, you look at you look at, I can't recall what article I was reading, but they were saying, look at where we are now and look at 100 years ago, and we're pretty much in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
There's all this war, there's all this sex, there's all this violence,
It's been that since day one of humanity.
Well, I mean, it's, in order to achieve peace, you must understand war, which is one of my favorite Roman, phrases, because it's true. In order to understand one thing, you have to understand another. It's evolution of thought, evolution of theory, and that's something I think Edison had a firm grasp upon. He knew in order to get to B, you had to accomplish A. And he may not have had the savvy to do it himself.
But he had the vision.
But, exactly,
no,
he had the vision, and he surrounded himself.
Capitalist. He could see... here's what scared me, Gordon. So we're doing some last-minute research. No, we were doing some last-minute research this afternoon on Edison, and we're going through the YouTube on our Roku. And so we're watching something about him, and they're saying that, okay, Edison would surround himself with people who were smart, and he would have an idea, and he would get these people to improve upon it and make it happen. And Spaceboy said, that's what I need is a research and development team and interns. And I'm like, oh my God, this is terrifying. So I'm like, we got to stop this soon.
And next thing you know, there's going to be like, Spaceboy's going to be like at some, cankle contest in Houston. Now that's a cankle,
No, I would not. No, I would tie him to something, duct tape him to a wall.
And full disclosure, I don't like barbecue elephant.
No.
And
I'll eat anything that's got barbecue sauce on it.
Well, I was trying to figure out, is Edison this bad guy that screwed over Tesla, or that's why we're doing this kind of like rebuttal to find out, was he all like, because Tesla has this cult following now. Well, Tesla is the underdog and all that, so that's why he's so popular. So I thought, okay, so what's the deal with Edison? When you learn about the barbecued elephant, I'm like, no, he's not a nice guy.
And not an elephant. They electrocuted some dogs,
stray cats and dogs.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Well, that was to prove that AC current was rubbish.
The war of the currents is what it was.
But to quickly go back to the point that I wanted to make, aside from being a capitalist, he was a visionary in the sense that he saw something and said, hey, you know what? That's going to catch on. I need to go ahead and invest money in this, as opposed to, like if you brought the pet rock to someone and they just said, you're never going to make any money on that. And then you turn to another investor and they go, you know what, that's brilliant. Let's go ahead and do it. It's a matter of being able to see the application. It's being able to see the longevity of, a product. And he was able to do that for the sheer fact of, he knew what was going to stick around and what wasn't. And whether he invented it or not, he was still the name behind it. He was still the powerhouse that invoked, these, because he was a celebrity. Mm-hmm. I mean, we forget that, he was, celebrity-wise, he was like the George Clooney of his day. He was, he was rich, he was handsome, he was, married about 8 million times, but in reality, I think he was only married 3 times, just to, clarify that I was joking.
That's something we discovered as we would do these research on him, and we would find one site that said when he was a teenager, he rescued a young girl from off the tracks, and then
how he got his first telegraph
and then
job.
It turned around, you found another site that says he rescued a young boy off the tracks.
Yeah.
So what's the true story?
And that was in, oh God, I want to say that was in like 1857 or something like that, or
pretty close. It was around 1854, in fact. When he was, because he had a job selling newspapers and candy on trains, and of course,
who didn't?
Yeah, who didn't? Yeah,
Well, because of the fact that he was pitied upon because he was a poor child. His family was poor. It's not like he came from, the Trump family or something. Franklin Pope, kind of felt pity for him and kind of let him do some of his inventions and let him experiment. Because of that, and a lot of people don't, probably aren't familiar with it from, nowadays. But, the stock ticker was huge back then. And that was his first big invention. And because of that, he became an overnight success. Because people were able to find out, exactly what was going on in the stock market within minutes of it happening.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that it just, I was reminded by something you were talking about earlier when we first started, is that how history...
Pickles?
Yeah, pickles, but with laser guns. Remember, pickles with laser guns. Fighting
that's going to be the new
for...
hashtag, Spaceboy Pickles.
Spaceboy fighting the evil pickle lord of Dimension 7-8. But anyway, I digress. I was going to bring up the fact that you have history repeating itself, in the sense that you have a man who's a visionary, and you have people that actually do the work. It's hard not to make that comparison to more recent times with Steve Jobs and Apple and all that, and even going back in time to around his time period, Walt Disney, and how he functioned, and utilizing the resources of the people at that time. So it's not something that is not new in a sense, but it's what I've always said is, if we don't learn by history, we won't be able to tell that history is repeating.
Speaking of learning, I learned a new word doing all this research. I don't know, maybe Gordon's heard of the word. I learned plutocrat. Plutocrat, a person who derives power from their wealth.
Yeah. Derives power or status, yeah. It's one of those great words that's been around, but it's one of those words that nobody hears about, but once you hear it, you're like, that is the most awesome word. I mean, I felt like that when I heard the word megalomaniac. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the bloody hell is a megalomaniac? And that's like, an egomaniac who has an ego for his ego. And I'm like, oh, that totally describes me.
Sound familiar?
To play a little, what's that?
Sound familiar? I'm looking across the way here.
I don't know what you're talking about. My ego's in
Plead
check.
Plead the fifth, bro. Works for me. Plead the fifth.
My ego's in check.
Yeah.
See, but with you're talking about history repeating itself. Those who forget history are bound to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at right now in modern times, what's popular? Comic book movies. You got characters like Howard Stark on Peggy Carter, the miniseries Peggy Carter. Howard Stark was modeled after Thomas Edison.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I could see it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Tony Stark is supposedly amalgamation of Tesla and Edison. And look at Iron Man 2. Who's his big rival? Justin Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Thomas Edison's rival? Anyone?
Tesla.
I'm sorry, not Edison's. Well, no, one of Edison's big rivals, aside from Tesla, was Joseph Hammer.
Oh.
Ooh, look at that. You see that? See? I inform and amuse.
That's why we keep dragging you out.
Yeah. I'm allowed to come out of
the pickle jar, and we
uncork
the pickle jar.
Well, getting back to Tom Edison, what I found interesting is the man was very creative, to say the least. He created concrete furniture.
Didn't work.
Didn't work out. But did you read anything about that, Gordon?
I read a little bit about that. Most of my, I'm not going to lie, most of my research was condensed into waiting time while my son was in surgery. He had to have dental surgery. So I was in the waiting room for a good 4 hours and just went ballistic on Edison.
Well, gave you something to do.
Fun stuff. Yeah, and then he comes out with like Joker bling. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Suicide Squad, but the Joker's got like silver teeth, and here comes Caleb. My 5-year-old, he's got more bling in his teeth than like Lil Wayne. Anyway.
Good Lord.
And what confuses me is on the top row it spells out pimp, and I don't know how that happened. No, I'm kidding. Not really. But with Edison, I found that he was a visionary in the sense that I just said. He knew what was going to catch on, but if it caught on with his competitors, then all of a sudden he wanted nothing to do with it. With the whole thing with the sound provisions for film, he thought it was brilliant and great, and then all of a sudden someone else came out with something better, and he's like, the whole thing with sound in movies is the actors don't need to act anymore, and and nothing but criticism.
Very childish attitude of him.
Well, I mean, but and I've said this before when we were talking about Tesla on our most successful Tesla show, might I add, was that you got to keep your mindset in that of the time, because in that time nobody was coming out with things like Edison was. There was no one close to him, so he was king of the mountain. And then what happens when somebody comes and knocks the king of the mountain off the mountain? They throw a hissy fit.
And it's important to emphasize during this time. You have the captains.
Well, you're doing that trouble thing again. You're really. I can't really hear you.
Okay. Let me. Is that better for you?
Oh, so much better.
Here,
let
me do this. I think I figured out what's going on. How's that, Gordon? Is that better?
Oh, you sound like Barry White.
I think I was going to say it's important to I guess emphasize during this time is that you have the captains of industry, you have the J.P. Morgans,
exactly.
and this is not uncommon for people in power.
They hung out together too. Some of them, with Edison,
to be the do what I said. This is what I need. Do this, and what do you mean?
Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump.
Well, he hung out with Firestone, Mr. Firestone. Edison did.
Mm-hmm.
Went camping in the woods with him. Of Firestone tires.
Well, Edison, I mean, whether it's Edison or Tesla or whatever great inventor you're talking about, Spaceboy brings up a great point is, the fact that these were the fathers of the industries. These were the creators of the things that are very commonplace to us nowadays. I mean, the incandescent light, a lot of people don't know it, but it made its debut on a train. It wasn't popular because they could only last for about 12 hours each. So every 12 hours they had to change them. Well, it made sense for trains. It made its debut on the steam coach Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And then Edison was able to get one of his minions to make it, improve it, and it got improved to last 1,200 hours. So that's a huge leap, 12 hours to 1,200 hours. And, of course, he took credit for it because it was his company and his employee, and you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that made him even more popular than he already was. The headlines, the typical headlines was, what's Edison going to come up with next? What's next for Edison? And at one point he said he was going to make a telephone to talk to dead people. And, when it was, I think like a month after he made that claim, somebody called him on it. He's like, oh, I was just kidding. There's no way I could do that. He liked to claim comedy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you recall the conversation about Tesla. He challenged Tesla to make one of his products better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could do it, I'll pay you extra,
$50,000, I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
Gordon, let's go ahead and take another break here.
You got it.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to continue to talk a little bit more with Gordon. In fact, we're going to take some of your phone calls. So be prepared to call the hotline, and we'll go from there. So when we come back, more Gordon, more Thomas Edison, and more you on SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yes, we're back, and tonight we're talking Thomas Edison. I had to really slow it down to think about Thomas Edison before I start saying Edison Carter from Channel 23. So, yeah, we're speaking with Gordon, and we're going to take some calls here. So, as soon as anybody calls in, we'll patch you through. But
the usual number?
The usual number is 713-701-5214. I know, Gordon, you definitely want to take some calls, right?
Always.
Good. No, I would have never guessed that about you.
Really?
Yes.
Well, a lot of people go, Gordon, he's just that quiet to himself kind of cat,
Well, Gordon,
and I'm
I'm going to make your evening because tonight we have Dino on the line. Hello, Dino.
Dino!
Well, good evening, Surlana and the Space Boy, and hello, wonderful guest.
Hello, I could barely hear you, Dino.
Yeah, I'm pumping him up. There you go.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can add too much because I'm not an Edison expert, but I've read quite a bit and looked up a lot about Tesla. And I think you kind of made reference to it earlier, but it seems like Edison was visibly jealous, not just because money could be made, but visibly jealous of Tesla. And a matter of fact, one time Tesla, I believe, was quoted as saying, when he was asked something about him, he just simply said, I am something to the point of an inventor, whereas he didn't necessarily mention Edison by name, but he said that he took ideas and developed them, but that Tesla himself was an inventor.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Tesla was very open about his relationship with Thomas Edison. He didn't like him. He made it known. He would never name him, but it's that kind of implication where I'm not going to name names or anything, but, and at one point Tesla did say, he said, I invent for people, whereas others invent for money.
True.
And the only time he directly named Edison in an interview was when he said Thomas Edison was the most unkempt, smelly person he'd ever met. And that's not exactly a compliment.
Now, I've heard that too as well, that he wasn't very much into hygiene, and I guess Tesla did mention that he, because Tesla was so immaculate, he was almost, I guess, OCD as far as being germs and stuff like that.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and the thing about Edison was I had an uncle who was kind of like him in many ways. He would stay up, Edison would, and so would my uncle, who was a machinist, would stay up all hours of the night. Didn't matter to him. He would be working on a project. He'd just keep going. If it was 3 a.m. and he wanted to make a sandwich, he'd make a sandwich and then go back to whatever he was building or machining. And I understand that was kind of a Edison thing. It didn't bother him. He expected people who worked for him, if he was up 16 hours a day, they were to hang with him in the barn and keep working. Mm-hmm. So that's something I understand that he had. He wouldn't have been, I saw this latest film about Steve Jobs, which some people have criticized and doesn't pull punches, that showed that he was such an obsessed with projects and perfection that sometimes he wasn't fun to work around. And I would imagine that Thomas Edison would have been the same way.
Well, I have to say, Dino, that sometimes Surlana feels that way about me.
Well, all I could say about you is anybody that would be in the middle of the desert taking, selfies with the stars and the, let's call it the other universe philosophy that we all seem to be into here, and wear a spacesuit in the desert is someone who's committed.
Well, I think Surlana will definitely say I am committed.
He needs to be committed.
There you go. That's how you do it. That's comedy gold, Gordon.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you see, she does it dry, and she's very, it's that one-liner. It's that, wrecked him, it damn near killed him. Boom, boom,
I'm having trouble. If you could pipe up the sound of the guest, I'm barely hearing him.
I'm tend to have having a little trouble with that, so I'm working it out as best as I can.
Sorry to point it out then to a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I'm still having a little trouble hearing Dino. I'm making out parts of it, and I'm trying to piece it together. But it sounds like you're far away in a tunnel, Dino.
That's how you sound to me.
Oh, see, now you're so much better. That's so much better. Whatever Spaceboy just did.
Well, when you're in a pickle jar, it tends to echo.
Oh, see, we got jokes about pickles now. Okay. See, now I'm going to regret ever making a joke. See?
Well, fill it with pickles.
Exactly. Gherkins, for that matter. You could fit more gherkins than pickles because gherkins are smaller.
Well, Dino, do you have anything else for us?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have anything else for us? Anything else?
No, I don't want to, and I know that in your show I don't want to jam up the phone line, so I will get off. I have nothing else intelligent to say right now.
Dino, it's always a pleasure to have you call us. Even when you call me when it's off the air, it's always a treat.
All right. I'm going to be listening the rest of the night. One more Saturday night for all of us.
All right.
Good day.
Good night, Dino.
Dino.
Good night, sir.
All right. Well, that was Dino, everyone. As I'm learning how to utilize the mixing board and make everything right with the universe. Woo! So, the line is open, 713-701-5214. Call in. We're talking about Edison or whatever's on your mind. Just to bring up a quick thing, I believe that K28 took an interesting picture tonight of the moon that there has some kind of blue orb in it. And so if people want to see it, check his Twitter feed. K28 has that interesting picture up there. Also, you can go to the Spaceboy Universe site where the show is playing, and it should be in the Twitter feed on that page too as well. So I didn't mean to interrupt there. Just wanted to throw some interesting news from K28 because he knows we love K28.
Well, speaking of that, that David Bowie got his own constellation now.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Starman constellation. It's a lightning bolt.
Belgians gave him that, I think.
Yeah, I think I have the link. I'll post it. But I was just so thrilled to hear that. Just because it's Bowie. I mean, and everyone knows I'm just all about some Bowie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, good Lord, I'm Bowie. I love Bowie. With what Dino was saying about the fact that they were coworkers and then they kind of started to hate each other was completely true. I mean, Edison, I think, was jealous for the mere fact that he didn't comprehend the fact that Tesla just wanted to help people without any financial gain. That was just alien to him. And I think that not only baffled him, but angered him that someone would give away something that's so lucrative.
I agree with
Hello?
that.
Yeah, we were hanging on with every word you were saying, listening to you.
They have different philosophies. I mean, Edison was all business. He's a venture capitalist. He's trying to get, I guess, fame, glory, and money, I suppose. Whereas Tesla's like, I just want to, he was like the dreamer. He's out trying to do this for mankind. Tesla was concerned about his inventions falling into the wrong hands, like the government, to be weaponized. So you got two completely different philosophies there.
Oh, indeed. I mean, and it's just so fascinating to see the separate sides of the same coin. Because they both had, similar thought process. but they had different ideologies about how to, proceed with XYZ invention. I mean, Edison was so anti-AC that, he took to, as you said, executing stray cats, stray dogs, and then he fought, once it was adapted as a means of execution, i.e. the electric chair, he filed injunctions to stop it. Because he kind of, gave himself enough rope. He hung himself for the sheer fact of, well, I'm going to show everybody how horrible this is. And then somebody found an application for it, and he's like, wait, no. And so he kind of, he screwed himself.
Well, there is maybe one thing that Edison tried to do for the good of the country. I don't know if you looked into this. So after the Depression, there was inflation and after World War I. So Edison thought he could solve the economic problem with a plan
I think I know what you're going here.
To back the value of money, get us off the gold standard with farming commodity.
Yeah, and he was against any kind of loan that required interest.
He thought
he didn't,
farmers could deposit their harvest in the government warehouses, this is crazy, and receive half of its 25-year average price as a loan in dollars printed by the Federal Reserve and an amount that would be repaid over the course of a year as the crops were sold off.
But you see, and this is where the conversation comes full circle. You ready for it?
Sure.
From what you were saying about, as Edison, proposed, you go ahead and you deposit all your, they did that in Rome. And what would happen is the farmers would deposit grain into a grain bank, like literally a grain bank, and they would get like free passes to like the good orgies. Like, and I'm not making this up. This is, you can look it up. And so it was kind of like a pay in, pay out kind of scenario.
Roman orgy didn't necessarily mean sex. It was just like a food thing where they.
No. That's where all of the senators hung out. That's where that's where the deals were made, hands were shaken. And that's where all the commodities were. That's where all the favors were exchanged. And so, in that, it's kind of an even comparison due to the fact that, like I said, he was against any kind of loan that required interest. He said, if it's our money, why should we pay interest on it? And again, here it is again, in our modern times, as opposed to Edison's time, as opposed to, time in Rome, the same issue of loans. And so I think that's an interesting point that you bring up.
Well, there's an economist who was looking at this, trying to figure out what Edison was trying to do. This idea of using farm commodities at the time, the currency was a big political issue, pitting the farmers against the bankers and the creditors. And this guy, Hams, was saying that Edison, here's this captain of industry, he had a profound suspicion of Wall Street financiers that actually backed him, but the boom and bust cycles of the time actually bankrupted him too. So he's quoted as Edison being half genius, half cranked, convinced that a little common sense tinkering can improve the economy where the experts failed.
Right. Well, he hated J.P. Morgan for the sheer fact J.P. Morgan liked Tesla.
Yeah.
They thought that his patents were a lot, a lot more. They had a lot more commonality. They had a lot more to do with the common man, and they were going to have a better longevity. And I mean, it's funny because, I think it was, in the 1880s, that, Edison debuted his lamps. And of course everyone was, the electric lamps were, the big craze. But soon after that, people took his lamps and then improved upon them. And of course, as I said earlier, any of his inventions that got approved upon, he was automatically against. Because they, it was the king of the mountain getting shoved off the mountain. Because it was, 80, oh gosh, I can't remember the year off the top of my head. But, it was, 1887, where, he was losing all of his market shares.
Yes.
Westinghouse, the whole thing with Westinghouse went down, and, it was these DC-based stations that were taking over, and then all of a sudden the AC ones were taking over. And, of course, he was anti-AC because he had nothing to do with it. I mean, I think it was, I think he had like 120 of his DC stations, and then out of literally over a month's period, almost 100 AC stations popped up. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, he didn't want anything to do with AC. AC was horrible. AC was evil. It was the Sarah Palin of electricity. And that was his big problem, was if it was brilliant and he owned it or had something to do with it, then it was, all gravy.
Yet,
if it was brilliant and he had nothing to do with it, it was evil.
That's the impression I got. Yet he did support solar energy. As far as 1900, he said, "I'd put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power! I hope we don't have to wait until oil and coal run out before we tackle that." So I thought that was interesting.
Again, that plays into the fact that he knew what was going to catch on. Because think about it. I mean, what happens? What do you have with solar powers? You have solar fuel cells. Well, those have to be regulated. And who better to regulate them than Thomas Edison himself? And, so on and so, he went where the money was. Mm-hmm. And so if there was money in it, of course you put on the public face, there's nothing like solar energy. We need to put regulations on coal. We need to do this. But what your bank account tells you is completely different. And that's where Edison was coming from, was, he knew that it would be worth millions. In that nowadays it would be billions, but back then mm-hmm. it was mere millions. Whereas at the same time, he could put on the public face of, this is going to be great for everybody because the sun is everywhere, and put that kind of facade across the board.
So real quickly, just handed in, courtesy of Dennis, and list verse, 10 ways Edison treated Tesla like a jerk. Number 10, he was disrespectful. Number 9, driven by greed. Number 8, mocked Tesla's line of thinking. Number 7, took credit for the fluoroscope. Number 6, wouldn't pay up for the $50,000 he promised him. Number 5, the meddling fool. What was that? The Edison Medal is presented yearly by a group called the IEEE, the Institute of Electrical Engineers. That would be number 5. Number 4, early radar technology laughed off. Number 3, fought against Tesla's AC power. Number 2, killed a man to prove Tesla was wrong. And the number 1, shared virtually none of his wealth. So that is a top 10 list of the way Edison treated Tesla like a jerk. So it comes back full circle on this conversation we're having tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Was Thomas Edison, there I go, I slowed it down so I didn't say Ed.
See, there you go.
Thomas Edison,
there you go.
Was he a jerk or not? Was he a jerkosaurus? What say you, Surlana?
I think so. I mean, he kills an elephant to prove a point. Although the elephant supposedly killed someone, I think whatever they were doing to the elephant to get the elephant killed, they probably had it coming, but I think so.
What say you, Gordon?
I think he was D-bag and a half.
Did you know he's credited with inventing the tattoo? stencil pen, a tattoo machine.
Who, Edison?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's motorized.
Mm-hmm.
And because it became a tattoo pen by accident. It was supposed to have a different purpose, but I can't recall that. Yeah, it was supposed to be an engravement pen, and for some reason I don't know exactly who thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to dip this in ink and put it on my butt. You know, I mean, you know, it just. But you know, he was, you know, to be fair, he was a brilliant visionary. A brilliant inventor is debatable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because as I said, he was the, you know, Rook of Salt, you know, claiming, you know, she found the ticket when really she had 50 people looking in the Wonka bars.
I am going to basically just say that I agree with you both. I think he was basically a visionary in the sense of he saw what possibly could happen and told people, this is my vision, or here's a product that we can take and make it even better than this. But at the flip side, you know, when you're dealing with people like that, yeah, they're going to be unkept as far as they probably work their tail to the end to create or to finish that vision. They're going to be mean as heck to people because they're impatient and they want to get it done. So when you look at the big picture here, you know, he's good, he's bad. He's popular. People want to vilify him. That's going to be natural. I mean, they do that in a sense with, you know, going back to modern day with Steve Jobs. They vilify him. They worship him. They recognize him as a visionary. Yes, he was angry with people. He had an idea. He wanted it to be fulfilled. And we look at Apple's worth. It's worth billions. It's that same pattern that we're dealing with Thomas Edison.
Edison.
Yes. Live from 23.
It's no matter what. I mean, I don't care whether you're talking about Thomas Edison or Michael Jackson or Mother Teresa. You can vilify anyone for any reason. Mm-hmm. It just is a matter of the validity of the reasoning. And with Thomas Edison, I think there's more valid reasons to picture him or portray him, to portray him as a major D-bag for the fact of all the people that he ripped off, all the people that he tried to take credit for their inventions, all the people, you know, like you know, the thing that we mentioned earlier about him offering Tesla the money to improve upon something, and once he improved upon it, he said, "No, I was just kidding about paying you. I'm not going to pay you." Mm-hmm. You know. And
yeah, you don't understand American joke, is what he was kind of like saying. You know, America.
That's apparently his exact quote was, "You need to understand American humor."
Right.
I mean, you know, the most fascinating thing that can be said about Edison, and someone brought this up on chat a few minutes ago, was when he died in 1931, Henry Ford had a nurse go into his room and apparently get his last breath in a test tube.
Wow.
And it is at the Henry Ford Museum. And so it you know, that's the most fascinating thing that can be said about him, was his last breath actually still exists. You know, I mean, I think, you know, and you know, I don't know if I'm beating a dead horse here, but I think, or I should say dead elephant, that'd be more appropriate. Oh my God. But you know, I think Tesla is way more interesting. I think Tesla is way more of a humanitarian than Edison was, for the sheer fact that Tesla did it not for money, but for the sheer fact of it was helping people. You know, Tesla had his finger on the pulse of, you know, wireless communication 100 years before it even, you know, was a twinkle in anyone's eye.
Well, hey, Gordon, we have another caller. caller. You're on air.
Alrighty.
Well, hello.
Is this Bev?
You betcha.
Yeah, I got Bev right.
Yay.
See, you didn't say Fran this time. I'm so proud of you. You
Yes.
need a cookie.
I do, and hopefully I'll get one later. But how are you tonight,
hey,
Bev?
hello.
Oh, not doing too bad.
So, you got a question for our guest tonight?
Yeah, now, okay, I know Tesla died broke. But now I heard that Edison did too. Is that true?
I could barely hear you.
She was saying that she knows that Tesla died broke, but what about Edison?
Edison, as far as I know, didn't die broke. He died in apparently New Jersey's the place to die if you're an inventor. But because he was very good friends with Henry Ford. And he lived, like, literally within spitting distance of Henry Ford. He lived across the street and, like, 30 yards down. And that was that wasn't exactly the cheap part of town, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I know, he didn't die broke.
Okay.
So.
He died in 1931 at 84, complications of diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in fact, he was having it's the kidneys that went, but diabetes was the direct disease that killed him over.
Yeah. And his wife, I think his wife died like about 15 years after he did.
Mm-hmm.
Second wife?
His second wife, Nina. I'm not exactly sure if that's how you pronounce it. Mina.
I think so.
But she had died like 15 years after he did. His first wife, he was a real gentleman. He waited a whole 2 years to remarry after she died.
Mm-hmm.
Which just, I could just slap the taste out of his mouth for that. But, he restored his childhood home. I think it was the last 15 years of his life, and once they told him it was restored, he went back to it. It still had the old the oil lamps, and he like went ballistic because of the oil lamps. I guess that was a reminder of the poverty or something. But he just lost it.
Bev, did you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I did. Okay, now another question. How many kids did Tesla and Edison have?
What was the question? I can't hear her very well.
She's asking kids, Tesla kids and Edison kids. How many?
Well, Tesla, towards his death, he had an interview with one of the popular New York magazines, and he had said that, throughout his life, he never married. He never even had a serious girlfriend, and he never had any children. And he felt that he had sacrificed too much for his science, and he looked upon that with regret. As far as Edison goes, I don't think he had any kids. I honestly just did. I'm not going to lie. I mainly did my research on his professional life. So I couldn't tell you if he truly had any kids or not. I do not think he did.
He did. I think he had, 4 kids, Surlana?
During this, to Mary Stilwell's first wife, he had 3 children, Marion, Thomas, and William.
I knew it.
See, I do
wow.
apologize. I just did my research on the.
I wonder what they thought of it.
Inventor's side of the coin.
Well, it said in 1884 his wife Mary died, and in 1886 he married Mina Miller, who was 19 years younger. I don't know if they had any kids, but it says that he was a tyrant to his employees. He was antisocial. He often neglected his family because he was working so much.
Well, Bev, we appreciate you calling in.
Well, thank you. I learned something new tonight.
That's what we strive. It's a big universe out there, and I'm
Yes,
surprised.
it is.
I'm surprised that Gordon actually helped you learn something.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear what I clearly just heard.
We love you, Bev. Call anytime.
Oh, I love you too.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Gordon.
Goodbye, Bev.
So we're getting ready to wrap up the interview, and we want to make sure that you give us all the information that our audience needs on where to find you, where to contact you, all that good stuff.
Everything you want to plug.
Everything you want to plug. Just before you start, people will have Gordon back definitely in March. For our JFK show. Extravaganza. So, that's definitely mark that on your calendar, because that's when he'll be back, definitely by March. But, who knows what will fall out of the warp hole between here and there, and we can have Gordon back on anytime we please. So, Gordon, take it away.
Well, I am on Facebook. I'm really easy to find because there's not a lot of people named Gordon Rupe, let's face it. I'm on Twitter at Gordon Rupe. It's like big surprise, right? You can find me on Amazon. You can find me just by typing Gordon Rupe. Gosh, jinkies. Oh, by the way, and for Surlana, I wanted to weigh in. Deep Space Nine was the best Star Trek series.
Best written.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And then they got to Defiant, and then it just started to suck. But she's probably making like those evil faces at me, isn't she?
No, I'm trying to find a link to your stuff.
Well, I was going to say that I believe we also have a link on our website in case people get lost through all the jibber jabber, and they can look you up on our site to get to you.
And my author page on Facebook is facebook.com/the author Gordon Rupe.
All right. Well, awesome, Gordon. Big hugs, man. Bro hug. Back at you there.
Hey, you guys are the best. And I want to say that I'm always honored, always excited, always privileged to be a guest on your show, just for the sheer fact of you guys are who you are.
Well, we like you, too, because we don't want to change who you are. That's what makes us so dynamic.
And you're cheap, too.
I thank you for the constant compliment and the constant guest shots that I have. Next time, though, I'm going to try to, start 2 or 3 days ahead of time with my comedy material.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to avoid any pickle jokes.
Maybe go to the Chuckle Hut on their open mic night and test out your material, get it perfected.
Yeah. I'm gonna be at the Chuckle Hut with Dolph Ziggler, and But yeah, that's how you guys can find me. Thanks for Dino and Bev for calling in. Thanks for Tina for shooting me those big hearts. But Tina, I'm a married man.
Well, everybody, that's Gordon Rupe. But say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right. So we're going to take our final break of the evening. And when we come back, we'll take some of your phone calls, continue this conversation. It's topic roulette from here on out. So let's take the break, shall we?
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 7137015-214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
I like that song. It's one of my favorites.
Can't remember what that one was.
That is Jesse James on the new Spaceboy CD or album, Digital. You've heard many of the commercials through the breaks, haven't you? Or at the beginning, at least the mega break.
I wasn't paying attention, sorry.
That's all right. And to my immediate left is Surlana. Say hello to Surlana.
Are we in a loop or something?
It is. It's a space loop.
Oh, I can't handle that.
So, what do you think of the evening with Gordon?
I like it when Gordon's on. I don't have to talk so much.
That is true. You didn't talk much.
Well, no, because I was letting y'all get the facts out there. It's not about me.
Well,
it's about you.
You know you're a part of my universe.
I know I'm trapped in it. I can't get out of this.
You're my boo. You know that.
Oh, good Lord.
So what else is on your mind? Please say you have something on your mind as we...
Okay, I'll tell you something.
Okay, I like it when you tell me something.
So for those of you out there listening, you don't know, I work at a university and have for almost 10 years. So, are we going to call?
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just like, hey, there's a good story. Why don't you tell it?
So, I work at a university and I take care of a college's website. This is one of the primary things I do. So, I'm updating the website and I go over to help the head of theater drama with something else, and I ask him if the latest play information out is for the spring play, and he says, yeah, I got it over here. And so he goes, I always cast first from students and then from staff. And I was like, yeah, I know that, I've known that for a while. And he looks at me and I'm like, what I'm like, okay, what is it you're trying to tell me? He's like, well, I've got an opening in the play where I think you'd be perfect for it. I said, what? He's like, I need a dead body for the first act. I'm like, thanks. So if I didn't know he adored me, I would take that as an insult.
Well, your relationship with the good doctor has been a long one, and I guess you told me that he's going to be going on his merry way now?
Yeah, he's going to actually retire in August, so...
Actually, he's been retired, but he's just been there.
He's on some kind of acronym things, leave, but I don't know what it means.
So what else going on in your universe?
Well, we didn't prepare for this.
Well, I know it's just normal, casual talk that we probably wouldn't be talking right now, but we're talking and people are listening. So
well, they ought to just call in. That would save us from.
The lines are open 713-701-5214 if you want to interrupt us and be a part of this wonderful conversation that Surlana and I have. And we would love to have anybody call. Oh, how about Dino calling in? That was pretty cool.
That was awesome. He actually called us way before time to tell us he was going to listen.
I was like, who's this? It's not Gordon's number. He knows to call in at a certain time. So, and then when Dino called in, I was like, hey, it's Dino.
I kind of wonder if Dino had just found out we exist.
It's funny how people are finding us. Is like, where is everybody? They're not on Twitter or anything.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Saturday nights, other people other than us have lives and they go out and do things.
That
you
is
and I are
true.
the only two are huge nerds that don't leave the house. So.
Well, we're at the home, at the comfort of our home. We're actually doing something late. We're providing some kind of entertainment for the masses. I think it's kind of a win-win for everybody, I guess. Oh, speaking of which, what were you going to say? Yeah,
go ahead.
Did I shock you? I finally got to see James Bond's Spectre. I bought the movie on Amazon.com, and I got to say, it was really good. I was thinking in my mind the previous James Bond movies that I've watched over the many years. And, although I liked Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, I liked James Bond as Moore, Sean Connery. I think the current Bond is definitely a callback to Sean Connery. Not saying necessarily the actor, but I'm saying it was more dramatic, more, story-driven versus, you get a little kind of campiness with Moore a little bit.
There's a lot of camp with Roger Moore.
Roger Moore, and then kind of over the top with Pierce, and so, but I really liked it. It was really good.
I don't have an opinion on
and
James Bond
and then I
films.
can't remember the actor's name, but he's been in Inglourious Bastards. He was the German officer that he made it all the way to the end, and we got the bingo. Anyway, so I know you'd recognize.
Rolf.
Yes, he is just. I watch him and listen to him. He is just very fascinating to watch and listen to as an actor, and you never know what he's going to pull out of his hat next. I mean, I look forward to whatever he's coming up next. But in Inspector, he was spot on, and I kept remembering the Sean Connery, back in the ones that he did, and great stuff there.
I was going to tell them what we were doing right before we got into this room tonight.
Okay.
We were testing out something brand new.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is, can I start off?
Sure.
Okay, so Surlana loves to sleep, and I can't knock her because she works hard for the money, and and I'm always okay.
And I'm really good at it too.
When I kind of wake up around 6, 7 o'clock.
Sleeping, that is.
As far as because that's my bio is set to 6 to 7 o'clock to get up to go to work for myself. She actually gets up an hour before me. So, needless to say, Saturday she wants to sleep late. And I kind of look at it like, okay, well, late to me would be like, okay, her sleeping until 7 or 8 in the morning. But her views.
He doesn't
on that,
understand the concepts of weekends and holidays because he's not from this planet.
Holiday. Anyway, so needless to say, I want to maximize the time on the weekend. So I'm ready to get up and go do things and be productive, but she wants to sleep. So finally, H-E-B, our grocery store that's here, H-E-Bs are all over Texas. It's kind of a Texas
thing.
So they finally started doing where you can order your groceries online and go pick them up curbside.
Yeah, it's like Sonic, if you have a Sonic drive-in, drive-through fast food place, you just drive up to a bay and you just say, hey, I'm here, I've paid for my groceries, and I guess they're just going to deliver them to your car and you take off.
Yeah, I have a confirmation number. We in other words, we went grocery shopping. What was kind of funny about that is in my mind I pictured going down the different aisles of, while we were shopping online. Okay, we go here. Okay, we need this, that, and this, and I even think we might have saved a little money doing this shopping online
because we're not able to
actually buy
spontaneously grab things.
And let's face it, we are notorious about spontaneous shopping, whether it be a snack or whether it be, hey, this is an interesting owl trinket. Let me get that. And so tomorrow morning, Surlana is going to get to sleep late, which I'm sure she's very excited. And at 7:30 in the morning, I'm going to H-E-B to pick up groceries, which makes me excited.
Like a huge nerd.
I'm excited because
all alone.
I get to go pick up groceries and get everything rolling on Sunday while she gets to sleep late. So what does that mean is by the time I get home and unload groceries, she should be waking up from her sweet slumber, and hopefully she'll have an overcast, sunny disposition. Because she likes it when it's overcast.
Well, when you get up, let the cat in so we can cuddle.
So I'm nerding out over the fact that I'm getting to do the groceries early so that we can do something else. I know we're going to... Oh, that reminds me of what we got to do. I finally... the mail kind of runs slow as molasses around here. We do a show, we give away Space Swag. Everybody loves Space Swag, don't
Somebody's
they?
probably wondering where their stuff is.
They're wondering. It's usually a delay of about a week, and the reason being is, by the time we get it all packed up and ready to go, and then it's usually the next weekend before we do it, or we get it done, and then I actually get it done kind of in the middle of the week because, let's face it, I haven't quit my day job yet.
Neither of us have.
Yeah, so something has to pay for Spaceboy Universe. Needless to say, I have the spaceships that were promised for our last episode with Mano Interami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. I just like saying it.
Just like saying his name.
So over to our leftish, rightish, depending on your point of view, we've got packages ready to go for Bev, Ty, and Barrett for Star Trek spaceships. And we might give some more spaceships away next time because we got a lot of spaceships to give away.
Basically, we just open a closet and say, we don't need this anymore. Yeah. Let's give it away.
It's kind of like we've been hoarding. Well, I can't say we
Not
because
really hoarding.
It's me that's actually been, hey, I got to buy this. Or I found 50,000 DeLoreans. I got to buy all these DeLoreans before anybody else buys them. And so I've accumulated a lot of extra stuff, and
You're a lunatic.
Well, I think maybe I was having a premonition of you'll need this for a show that you will once make, and you'll need to give stuff to the masses. So now here it is, the future, or as I like to call it, the present, which I like to give presents away, and that is Space Swag. So we have tons of Space Swag to give away. Hopefully soon, I'm going to be working on a new Space Swag box that has a few goodies that are nerd related, and that will be for the Uber space cadet that calls in and gives us a good story or communicates how much they love Spaceboy Universe.
You going to have them write an essay or something?
Well, if it comes down to it, I mean, I just want to know that they love the program, And then, okay, so speaking of love the program, Icarus came up in the conversation in the sandpit. Basically, that is code for Surlana to tell me that...
Oh, I have a card. It says, "Careful, Icarus." When he was doing an interview, and I felt like he was getting dangerously close to a subject that he shouldn't really comment on, or he's just... I think he's talking, and it feels like he's tap dancing in a minefield. So I'll just be careful, Icarus. Like pull back, leave that subject. It's not safe anymore. So that's what that was in that picture. That was just because I have to keep it there so I can just flash him while he's talking.
And that's why sometimes you probably get me confused when I refer to Bev as Fran and Fran to Bev, and now tonight I've referred Gordon to Dennis and Dennis to Gordon, and I hope Dennis still loves me and it doesn't hate me.
I hope so too, because I like Dennis.
I like Dennis too. He's a good guy, and I was saying earlier that he's an excellent writer. Not all writers are created equal, and he is tops in my books. So
there's a lot of them. I would hug them if I could, but I'm not a hugger, so.
Oh yeah, I know. I understand. So, any other good juicy stuff that we need to tell the audience? I'm going to tell you the audience this. There is a lot going behind. She just flashed the Icarus thing. But in all seriousness, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes of Spaceboy Universe that we're striving to make it an interesting show to tune into, but most of all to appeal to the masses and get the word out. Although I can't go into any details, just know that the show is gaining some interest from some interested parties, and Surlana and I are, talking to said parties. And
problem is that party wants.
Well, everybody wants cheddar, but it's just a matter of.
And all we have is Parmesan.
Yeah, all we have is Parmesan. But I say that's why we need space cadets like you. I don't want to seem like I'm begging or anything, but we do really need your support, and that support.
Now it's like a PBS.
Well, hold on. The support comes in, telling people about the show. Granted, we do have a donation button on the website.
But we don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, we're not pushing you to push that button and donate, but you can help by just spreading the word out that you listen to Spaceboy Universe and letting other people know about this show. Like I said, we are not a one-chamber show, meaning that we cover 6 topics in our variety. And like tonight, you got a dose of history. And that's part of the 6 topics we cover, which is history, technology, games, music, fringe science, and what's that 6th one, Surlana?
Oh, I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Why don't we just put it on the back of one of these computers where you can read it?
Anyway, like I'm saying,
right here.
Space Cadets, we need you. Just like tonight when we mentioned earlier about letting the weird this week in weird know that we're interested in getting them.
Well, it's funny you say that. Just got a tweet from Greg Newkirk that says, "Love to come disappoint you. Drop me a line with the deets."
Oh, sweet. Well, Space Cadets, your commander is going to give you a virtual hug tonight because you've made my evening. We are excited. I know that I'm excited about talking to him about the Kentucky Goblin thing. And, like I said, I guess at some point maybe we can replay that episode.
That's your favorite story.
Yeah, because as a kid, I read about it as a kid, and quite frankly, I don't want to say it made me wet my pants or anything, but
Please don't say that.
Okay, I kind of did, but it didn't happen. It just scared the living bejesus out of me. Okay, and so it's a story that's kind of close to my heart, and to this very day, periodically, I keep a blue light on just so I can illuminate my room to see what else is in it. But so that'll be great. We'll have to get with him and talk to him and see about getting him on the show.
Yay, more people to talk to.
Yes, I love talking with people.
And I'm trying to, there's another person I'm trying to get to come on the show, but this person doesn't need us at all. This person has 6 million followers, so we'll see.
Yeah, we can dream about that. In fact,
we got a Star Trek guy, so I don't know.
Hold on. It worked with Greg. Why don't we put the Space Cadets on it?
No, I don't want to do that.
Why don't?
No, let me try it this way first.
Try it your way
Yeah,
first?
let me try
Okay.
it this way first.
I'm telling you, if it doesn't work your way, I'm getting the Space Cadet Army on it.
Let me think about that, okay?
Okay. Army, Space Fleet, whatever. I think it's more Space Fleet, right? Space
Hey,
Cadet, Space
it's your
Fleet.
world.
Anyway, Space
I just
Cadets,
live here.
I appreciate tonight, so you get a attaboy from me tonight. So, anything else we need to jibber jabber about? Anything on your mind?
Well, next week we're going to do Bitcoin.
Yes, we are doing the.
Tried to find a Bitcoin expert.
We put the word out on that one.
Get one to reply to us. If anybody out there knows someone that would be willing to come on the show for free, because we don't have any Bitcoins, and tell us what they know about it, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to be doing the most in-depth research ever.
Yeah, so there's another mission for you, Space Cadets. Bitcoin expert. We're searching for one. Someone who knows the subject matter, and we'd love to have them on next week's show. Let them know to contact us at contact@spaceboyuniverse.com or at the SB Universe.
Or they can tweet at us and we'll get in contact.
Tweet, that's our tweet handle, yeah. Let's see here as we're going through the list. We've done that. We've done this. We've expressed that. And
funny people in the chat.
What is some of the chats going down right now?
They're just being silly.
Well, I see Gordon's being silly. I see him there.
I tweeted a picture of the outgoing male there.
So I hate to go all Pee Wee Herman here, which incidentally he's going to be having a new show on Netflix. But I guess the word of the night is pickle.
Pickle. Secret word, pickle.
Secret word is pickle?
Sure.
All right, then. So Bitcoin next week. I think we're also...
After that, it's kind of like...
Yeah, we got a blank there, but then we're going to do something on precog.
Yes. Let me check the sacred book here.
I think that's the week after...
I have that on the 13th of February.
Yes. We have a guest coming on, and we'll be talking about precognition.
We got to come up with something for February 6th.
I think we'll work out.
Topic roulette.
Topic roulette is always a good one. Roulette. Potato.
Well, I'm from Louisiana, so I'm used to hearing laissez les bon temps rouler.
I see. Go Tigers.
No, that's let the good times roll.
Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. No. I think at some point, though, I owe you some catfish this week, right? Or
do you?
Next week.
Well, that's on the air, so now it has to happen.
Yeah, I know. The wife needs her catfish fix, even though she says Texans can't make catfish.
And y'all know nothing about a hush puppy. Y'all don't even know what that is.
The thing is that there's, most of the places that have the catfish are expensive. There was a place we used to go to that was pretty affordable and had a pretty tasty gumbo.
And they just went under.
Actually they went under, but out towards Sugar Land, Texas, which is just down the road about 14.7 miles.
Weirdly specific.
They have a fish place that we used to go to, but they have it in Sugar Land.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they do. I've never tried to go there for lunch, but I know they have.
There's one down there where you work I'd love to go to, but you're like, I don't want to drive all the way back down where I work on a weekend. Like, God.
Come on, think about it. Do you, if there was a fabulous, if I wanted to go to Chick-fil-A
once a year
at Chick-fil-A
you could do it
at the university, do you think I would want to drive all the way
down?
No,
because it's not open on a Saturday.
Of course, but I'm saying hypothetically, would I want to drive all the way down to the university, which is 11.7 miles from here?
14.
Oh, well, take a few miles here and
there.
And
it's 17 back. No, it's 17 there and 14 back.
How does that happen?
Because I don't have to go as far back as I do going there.
Okay. All right.
Because I have to go like this, and then I have to go like that.
Audience, she's designing a triangle in the air. So when you get the vision of this to that...
Nobody's listening. You're all gone.
I'm sure there's
3 minutes till.
Well, that's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Trying to tell people what directions by using your finger in the air, and they can't see you. Anyway, you saw that I was working on the media room today, right?
Yes, you're in there having a great old time filming.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to videos coming out pretty soon. I'm working on Space Blog. What did you call it? You called it something.
I said Space Blog. I said, slog.
So we're working on something more videos in, and I know that we've had other video ventures that we're working on to get out there.
I'm also trying to learn Adobe Premiere.
Mm-hmm. So she's learning how to do that, to do videos, and I think it's great because she wants to do it, and I've been doing it a long time, and anxious to see her talents at that. And
somebody said there's looking up hush puppy recipes on the other monitor. I said, do it. Let's have a hush puppy party.
Ooh wee. All right, so Surlana, do you want to say anything lastly to the space cadets out there?
Nope.
All right. With that magical note, this is Spaceboy, and this is Surlana, and we are out of here. Join us next week on SpaceboyUniverse.com.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Producer credit goes out to Dennis Koch. Find Spaceboy at spaceboymusic.com and spaceboyuniverse.com. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. You have reached your final destination. Good night, Space Cadets.